Coronation Street actor Jonathan Howard has revealed that he will remain on the soap following the shocking murder storyline. For several months, viewers had been uncertain about the fate of his character, Carl Webster, who appeared to be one of the possible victims during this week's dramatic episodes. Back in February, Jonathan fueled rumors about Carl's departure after speaking about the role in the past tense during an appearance on ITV's This Morning. Speculation grew again last month when fans noticed a photo he shared from the Coronation Street set, suggesting he was still filming scenes for the show. Shortly afterwards, he added more confusion by announcing plans to return to the United States, where he had previously lived with his family before joining the soap. During a recent interview on set, Jonathan admitted that his social media activity had accidentally hinted at spoilers and misled viewers. He joked that although he really was flying to America, he enjoyed seeing soap fans trying to predict what would happen next. Jonathan explained that viewers love searching for clues and making guesses, so he liked having a bit of harmless fun with them. He also admitted he had been warned not to reveal storyline details, but sometimes forgot and shared things online that created trouble for him. Jonathan previously shared that he hoped Carl would eventually get a redemption storyline if the character survived the Murder Week drama. Since arriving on the cobbles, Carl has caused chaos through affairs, car theft, and a hit-and-run incident, leaving many residents furious with him. However, his future could now involve repairing relationships and changing his behavior. His continued presence in the show also means there will likely be more involvement in Debbie's dementia storyline, which could eventually lead to a stronger bond between mother and son. Jonathan praised Sue Devaney, who plays Debbie, saying they work naturally together and share excellent chemistry on screen. He explained that their emotional scenes feel genuine because they have such a strong connection off-screen as well. He added that Sue had been very supportive since he moved back to England from America and understood how difficult it had been leaving his daughter behind. The actor also revealed that he did not initially know Carl was Debbie's son when he first joined the soap. Producers later informed him about the big family secret, which he had to keep hidden for quite some time. Friday's episode finally confirmed that Carl was not the mystery body discovered by Betsy Swain, as Theo Silverton was instead revealed as the murder victim. Summer Spellman makes a desperate attempt to leave Weatherfield in upcoming Coronation Street scenes as suspicion over Theo Silverton's murder continues to grow. Even though she may not be responsible for Theo's death, Summer's decision to flee only increases concerns that she could be hiding something. The drama begins when DS Lisa Connor Swain starts to suspect that Summer may have been involved in Theo's murder. Before she can even face questioning at the police station, matters become worse after George Shuttleworth discovers her private journal. While reading through it, George is shocked to find disturbing notes describing a moment where Summer imagined pointing a gun at Theo. Harriet Bibby explained that Summer is completely overwhelmed by panic as events spiral out of control around her. The actress said that everyone connected to Theo has been acting irrationally since the murder, with each person desperately trying to avoid becoming a suspect. She explained that Summer's journal contains her darkest thoughts and was never meant for anyone else to read, making the situation look incredibly suspicious. Harriet added that regardless of whether Summer is guilty or innocent, the diary makes her appear deeply connected to the crime, leaving her scrambling for a way to escape the growing pressure. Following a difficult time at the police station, Summer faces more trouble when George questions her directly about Theo's death. A later flashback reveals what George witnessed on the night Theo died. Angry and defensive, Summer quickly turns the blame onto George and accuses him of being Theo's killer instead. However, the situation deteriorates further when George tells Christina Boyd that he has informed the police about Summer's lies. Once Christina warns that the police will soon target her, Summer completely panics and decides to leave. She later runs into Todd Grimshaw while carrying a packed bag. Summer admits that she fears being arrested for murder and reveals that she plans to return to her university in America that same afternoon. The big question is whether Summer will successfully escape before the police catch up with her. Viewers are left wondering if she is simply terrified of being wrongly accused or if she is actually trying to avoid punishment for Theo's murder. Harriet explained that several details are beginning to work against Summer, making her look increasingly suspicious in the eyes of the police. She added that Summer is no longer thinking clearly and believes running away is the only solution. According to Harriet, years of trauma and difficult experiences in Weatherfield have already pushed Summer to breaking point, and Theo's murder investigation has finally caused everything to become too much for her to handle. Ben Driscoll completely lost control in tonight's Coronation Street after an emotionally devastating week at the Rovers. The drama followed yesterday's huge revelation that Maggie Driscoll had accidentally caused the death of her husband Alan years earlier. After learning the truth about his father, Ben struggled to cope with the shock. Things became even worse when he shared the secret with Eva, leading to Maggie being pushed away by the family. Earlier in the week, Ben's son Will bravely reported Megan Walsh to the police as part of the soap's ongoing grooming storyline, adding even more pressure to an already tense household. With emotions running high in tonight's episode, Ben finally snapped. Furious with his mother, he threw Maggie's belongings out onto the street and accused her of betraying him throughout his life. He angrily told Maggie that she had spent years disappointing people, especially him. Meanwhile, Steve tried to comfort Maggie as she opened up emotionally about the family situation. She explained that Ben and Finlay meant everything to her, just as Steve and Andy had once meant the world to Jim. Steve later encouraged Ben to give Maggie another chance and listen to her side of the story, but Ben reacted badly and insisted it was none of Steve's business. When Steve reminded him that they were family, Ben exploded with anger and ordered him out of the pub along with the other customers. Ben admitted that everything he believed about his life had suddenly been turned upside down, and he became furious at the idea that Steve seemed excited about discovering a new brother. He harshly declared that Steve meant nothing to him before physically forcing him outside and shouting for everyone else to leave as well. Later, during an emotional conversation with Eva, Ben confessed that he felt like he was failing everyone around him and letting his loved ones down. Eva refused to let him sink into self-pity and reassured him that he was doing his best despite everything happening around him. She reminded Ben that his efforts were enough for her and encouraged him not to give up on himself. Sarah Platt continues to struggle emotionally in Coronation Street next week as the aftermath of her recent attack begins to seriously affect her work and personal life. At Underworld, Sarah behaves noticeably differently, causing concern among those around her. Fizz is the first to notice that Sarah no longer seems like her confident self and points out to Carla Connor Swain that the attack appears to have badly shaken her. Carla attempts to ease the pressure on Sarah by suggesting that Michael should help with some of her responsibilities at the factory. However, Sarah reacts badly to the idea. A Coronation Street insider explained that Sarah takes great pride in her work and hates the thought of someone else stepping in to cover for her. Unfortunately, matters only become worse after Sarah makes an error while handling an important order. Michael tries to protect her by taking responsibility for the mistake, but instead of helping, his actions cause Sarah to completely lose her temper. The tension at the factory eventually convinces Carla that Sarah is no longer coping properly. Afterwards, Carla gently encourages her to take a break from work for a while. However, Sarah clearly struggles with the suggestion, as Carla later discovers her drinking heavily in the Rovers while trying to deal with her emotions. Later in the week, Carla calls Sarah into the office and reveals that Michael will now oversee Underworld's new contract. She also firmly repeats that Sarah needs time away from work. According to insiders, Carla genuinely believes Sarah is not mentally in a good place and is only trying to protect her by insisting she take some time off. Although Carla means well, it remains unclear whether Sarah will accept being pushed aside from the business at such a difficult time in her life. While many characters believe the men connected to Jody were responsible for attacking Sarah, viewers already know the shocking truth. It was actually Jody herself who struck Sarah over the head before leaving her injured to be found by Shona and David. Jody's lies continue to spiral next week as Daniel discovers she was dishonest about his son Bertie. The situation becomes even worse after Shona exposes another lie involving Jody's real birthday. Coronation Street is broadcast on ITV1 every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. and is also available to stream on ITVX.